It was the year 1203. The Turk general Bakhtiar Khilji had reached the gates of Nadia, the capital city of the Hindu Sena dynasty. Khilji had already burnt and destroyed several of the ancient Buddhist monasteries in the Magadh region, including the famous Nalanda University, Odantapur University, and Vikramashila University. After burning these great Buddhist centers of learning, the Turkish general moved towards the heartland of Bengal. At that time, Bengal was ruled by a weak and old king named Lakshman Sena of Sena dynasty. The king was in his 90s. Khilji and his cavalry entered the capital disguised as horse traders. Once inside the city, they charged straight towards the king's palace. Overwhelmed with this sudden attack, the king fled through the back door into the forested areas of East Bengal. Now Khilji was the ruler of the last stronghold of Buddhism in India. This started the long process of Islamization of Bengal, which took more than 5 centuries to convert Buddhist Eastern Bengal into what will finally emerge as the Islamic Bangladesh. But can we give all the credit for Islamization of Bengal to Bakhtiar Khilji or the later Islamic invaders? Let's explore the top 10 reasons which converted Buddhist Bengal to Islamic Bangladesh. The first reason was persecution by Hindu kings. The persecution of Buddhism in Bengal started soon after the fall of the Maurya dynasty. Pushyamitra Sung of the Shung Empire was known for the persecution of Buddhists. Another infamous persecutor of Buddhists was King Shashank, the founder of the Gauda dynasty. He destroyed several monasteries and stupas in Bengal. The second reason was loss of royal support. By the 11th century, even the Pala kings, who were earlier the great supporters of Buddhism, began to favor the Shaivite and Vaishnava tradition of Hinduism. This resulted in the loss of royal support for the monasteries and Buddhist centers of learning. During the later rule of Sena kings, Buddhism lost all royal support in Bengal, and the monasteries and Buddhist centers of learning started to decline. The Sena kings were orthodox followers of Hinduism with little sympathy for Buddhism. As a result, while Hinduism was getting stronger and becoming dominant in Bengal, Buddhism was losing ground. Buddhism was already in a state of decline when it came under attack from the Turk invaders. One of the major reasons for the decline of Buddhism in Bengal was Islamic invasions. The most severe blow to Buddhism in Bengal was received from Bakhtiar Khilji, a Turkish commander who undertook a series of plundering raids across Bihar and Bengal during the early 13th century. He destroyed and burnt several prominent Buddhist monasteries and killed thousands of Buddhist monks. The Odantapuri monastery, located a few miles from Nalanda, was turned into army headquarters by Khilji after he killed all the resident monks. Thousands of other ordained monks were killed at Nalanda and Vikramashila University, forcing the monks to simply desert them. Bodh Gaya, the holiest site of Buddhism, was also attacked by Khilji. This sudden onslaught of the Muslim invaders led to the exodus of Buddhist laypersons and monks to neighboring countries, including Nepal, Tibet, and Bhutan. Those Buddhist laity who could not manage to run away were either converted to Islam or integrated into the fold of Hinduism. However, the Turk attacks were not able to completely destroy Buddhism in Bengal, and it remained strong in several pockets of East Bengal. Another reason for the rise of Islam in East Bengal was migration of Muslims from Central and West Asia. The Mongol attacks in Central Asia during the 13th century led to the eastward migration of Turks. The newly converted Turks of Central Asia provided a continuous and unending supply of soldiers to the Islamic invaders like Khilji. Bengal was the terminal point of the mass migration of Turks, which was initiated by the Mongol invasion. There was migration also from Western Asia during the period of Bengal Sultanate and Mughal rule of Bengal, with the rapid agriculture and industrial growth in the region. But these migrants formed only a small percentage of the total Muslim population in Bengal, and the Islamization of Bengal cannot be attributed to the migrant Muslims from Central and West Asia. Another reason is the patronage of Islam by Muslim rulers. During the Islamic rule in Bengal, many Buddhists and Hindus converted to Islam to receive social and economic favors from the new rulers. Many landlords and traders converted to Islam to escape imprisonment for non-payment of taxes or to keep ancestral lands in the family. Muslims' control of commercial activities also created conducive conditions for the conversion of Buddhists, who were mostly traders and artisans. Conversion for social liberation was the sixth reason. It is often claimed that in East Bengal, many low-caste Hindus converted to Islam to escape the discrimination of the rigid caste system of Hinduism. It is assumed that this caste-based discrimination was the most important reason for the mass conversion of Hindus to Islam. But there are three challenges with this assumption. First, the mass conversion of the local population took place mostly in Eastern Bengal and not so much in West Bengal. However, East Bengal was dominated by Buddhist and tribal populations, while West Bengal was mainly Hindu. After 500 years of Khilji's invasion, there was a complete conversion of the local population into Islam in East Bengal, while West Bengal is even today predominantly Hindu. Buddhism is a religion of equality, having no place for discrimination based on caste or Varna system. Therefore, this theory does not hold ground for East Bengal. Second, if the local population experienced mass conversion to escape caste discrimination, then this conversion should have taken place more extensively in the Gangetic plains of India or in South India, which was the stronghold of Brahmanical Hinduism. But both of these belts are predominantly Hindu even today. Third, conversion to Islam was not able to liberate the converts from lower caste Hinduism, as they carried with them the same caste system into Islam of South Asia. Another very interesting reason was the historical movement of Bengal's rivers. The mass conversion of the local population to Islam in Bengal did not start till the end of the 16th century. This coincides with the beginning of the Mughal rule in Bengal and the eastward shifting of river systems of Bengal. This historical movement of Bengal's rivers in the long run caused the northwestern and western delta to decay, as their channels shifted increasingly eastward. As new river systems gave access to new tracts of land, areas formerly covered under dense forests were transformed into rice fields, providing the basis for new agrarian communities. This geographical change started the process of colonization and settling of new lands. This involved labor-intensive process of removal of forests to develop rice fields. The colonization of the new lands was mostly spearheaded by the Muslim religious gentry, who were called Sheikhs or Pirs. The cultivators at the ground level were recruited from local Buddhist or tribal communities, or brought in from outside of Bengal. This agrarian system, along with the religious activities of the Sufis, was finally able to bring the local tribal and Buddhist population into the direct contact and ultimately into the fold of Islam. One of the overlooked reasons is collaboration between rich Hindu traders with the Mughal Empire in Bengal. The process of removal of forests in East Bengal and mass colonization of new lands was initiated during the 16th century by the Mughal rulers based in Agra. This required considerable financial resources, which were provided by the rich Hindu traders from the western states of India like Gujarat and Rajasthan. In return, the Mughal rulers provided the Hindu traders the political security essential for conducting business. We can safely say that the conversion of the local Buddhist, tribal, and Hindu population of Bengal was indirectly financed by rich Hindu traders and landlords. Another reason was Islam was initially seen as savior by Bengali Buddhists. In eastern Bengal, Islam arrived at a time when Hinduism and Buddhism were still in the process of bringing the indigenous population of East Bengal into their fold. They were competing with each other to assimilate the unreached indigenous communities of forested East Bengal. During this period of conflict, Some sects of Buddhism, like the Dharma sect of Mahan Buddhism, saw Islamic rulers as their well-wishers and saviors against Hindus. The later insertions in the Sunni Puran, the sacred book of Dharma sect, show their admiration towards Turk rulers who were able to put a definite check on the further spread of Hinduism among the indigenous people. Sufism was perhaps one of the most important forces which played major role in conversion of local indigenous and Buddhist population into Islam. After the Mongol invasions of Islamic lands across Central Asia, several Sufis moved into Eastern India. In India, their previous familiarity with converting Buddhists of Central Asia had far-reaching consequences. Sufism took on the role of a bridge builder between Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism. The religious content of Sufism were in no way foreign to the mass mind of India. It is for this reason Sufism became easily acceptable to the masses. The Buddhists and Hindus made offers of sweets at Muslim holy places, kept copies of Quran to keep away evil spirits, and participated in Muslim feasts. The Muslims reciprocated equally remarkably. Out of this brotherhood originated the worship of a common deity named Satyapir, worshipped by Hindus, Buddhists, and local Muslims. The Muslims later abandoned this worship under the influence of several reform movements undertaken in Bengal. The syncretic form of Hinduism practiced by the Pauls of Bengal has a strong influence of Buddhism and Sufism. The Sufis established several khangas and dargahs across Bengal. These dargahs owned considerable economic resources in the form of property, land, and cash income. They became the symbol of both spiritual and economic power. Khangas were the humble rest houses where wandering Sufis could lead a devotional life. The village khangas, as humble they might have been, played a major role in the spread of Islam in the rural areas of Bengal. They not only offered lodgings and refreshment to travelers, but also provided both Muslim and non-Muslim villagers with amulets and charms designed to prevent disease, damage to crops, and other crises. Social interactions between the Sufis and the local population worked towards their slow but continuous conversion to Islam through the efforts of different Sufi orders. Islam in India essentially had an urban character till it reached Bengal, where it finally moved into the countryside. Due to the extensive Sufi activities in Bengal, Islam was able to not only bring the indigenous people to its fold, but also prospered at the cost of Buddhism. Buddhists were largely converted into Islam as an indirect consequence of the peaceful activities of the Sufis, as well as through the process of acculturation and assimilation spread over several centuries. Eventually, the Sufi movement, Islamic invasions, the eastward movement of the river systems, and the new agrarian systems developed under the Mughal rule ensured that Buddhist East Bengal slowly but completely converted into Islamic Bangladesh. Please share your thoughts on the other reasons why Bangladesh became Muslim. If the video was useful, please like the video. Please subscribe to our channel for similar informative videos on Buddhism and on the life of Buddha.